Hello, welcome to another Sunday chat with me, Richard Vobes. This is my chance on the 21st of February 2021 in the Sunday chat to catch up with all the bits and pieces that are going on the Bald Explorer on my little weekly report. So, hello and welcome. Not a full-packed and thrilling episode today. Well, at least I haven't got a number of exciting announcements to make, but I thought I'd go through a few things that have been going on and bring you up to speed anyway. So thank you very much for joining me. It's very nice of you, and I hope you enjoy what we do. So this week has been, not the week that we've just had, has not been the best week in terms of getting out and filming. The weather has been pretty abysmal. It's been windy and it's been dull. And it's also rained on some days, but it's been more dull and windy and just uninspiring. And the one thing I do like to do when I go out is try and film in nice sunshine and bring the landscape, the heritage and the nature to you in wonderful colours and in vibrant, shades, I suppose. And when it's dull and dismal, it's very hard to do that because in the UK, in the winter, when the light is like this and cloud cover, everything just looks grim. But that is our English weather, and we sort of have to tolerate it. So one of the things I've been doing this week, and you may have noticed that, is I was looking at the early farms. The last couple of videos have been looking at the prehistoric farms of the Neolithic period through to Bronze and then Iron Age, and the field systems in particular. This all sparked off because I got interested when I was reading Professor Hoskins' book on the making of the English landscape, on a revised version of it that had little side notes by a chap, a leading archaeologist in the 1970s called Christopher Taylor. And he was saying that a number of the finds that Professor Hoskins had put were now out of date and we had new information. But he was applauding Hoskins for his work and his enthusiasm for getting people to be interested in the landscape. And he mentioned a number of things about farms and how the layout of farms came about much later than we really thought. So I was fascinated by that, and so I wanted to see if he'd written any books, which he had, and I purchased them. And I've read one which is The Field Systems of England, and I'm now reading one about the tracks and roadways of England, and a very fascinating book it is. Anyway, he was going through these early farms that the Neolithic people did, and I was sort of tracing through his notes. Now, I'm not an expert, I'm not a historian, I don't claim to know very much, but I was gleaning stuff from him, and as part of my learning, and I mentioned this in the videos, of course, that in order for me to learn, it's quite good to make the notes and then try and spout it back to somebody, mainly the viewers, and that way it sort of goes into my head as knowledge. Now, the thing is, obviously, I'm not saying this is my theory, although I would and have speculated a bit at the same time, because there are a lot of holes in the knowledge that I have from gleaning from one book. And so one then sort of questions certain things and thinks, I wonder if this happened, or I wonder if that. That's not me saying that definitely did happen, or indeed that is my theory on what happened. It's purely a sort of mental exercise of speculation. So anyway, that's what I've been doing, and I've been interesting really to see how that goes down in terms of viewing figures and numbers. It's probably far too early to say when you just suddenly spout into something like that. You probably need to do several of those over a number of months and then just see whether it either attracts new people or indeed keeps existing viewers entertained and interested. Not so much entertained, but I suppose it's kind of entertaining, isn't it? Because what do you do with the information when you've got it other than go, oh, that's interesting? Anyway, so I do want to carry on with some of that because I find it really interesting in the part of our English heritage and as part of my trying to look at English history from a timeline perspective going into the future and up to date. And I'm still meditating on how to present that in this format because, again, I'm not an expert on it, and it is about really me trying to learn about this stuff and share that learning with you. You probably know more than I do, so I'm just sort of saying, hey, here's my rough notes. This is what I've gleaned, and of course you're quite at liberty to make your own comments and things. Now, there's no news. I've got a list here, by the way, of items. There's no news on many of the projects that we was hoping to do as yet, such as the Walter Wilkinson reenactment and things. I know we're sort of hedging closely to March and an April time, which was round about the time that he got going on the Sussex Peep Show 100 years ago. And this is the thing with the puppets that you may have seen me talking about. But because of the restrictions and because of lockdown and because the rumours are now that we're not getting out of any of this until July, that the goalposts keep getting moved, it just means all my plans are just up in the air. They're just, scuppered, really. We had this last year where I'd made a number of plans. We were going to do 5 days in a forest. We were going to go to Northumberland. There were a number of things that I had planned. We did manage to do the canal trip, which was fantastic. And then March came along. And then from then on, everything was questioned. We didn't know. And then the things were open and then they were shut again. And so some things happened and some things didn't. And now, of course, I hear on the radio people advertising holidays, but not for this year. They're advertising for 2022. And you just think this is madness. How do you plan for anything in this year? And, of course, the government don't seem to be very helpful by not giving us any hope. It's all doom and gloom. And when you're trying to, and I do, desperately want to get away and tour around, I've got the van, I've invested in this big time to do this and bring interesting exploratory videos, and the country just continually wants to shut down. Now, let's not get into a political debate about whether COVID's a thing or not a thing, or whether the vaccine is the right way, any of that. Let's not worry about that. That's for another debate, and I'm happy to have a debate about that. But it's just irritating at the moment that I can't bring you any confirmed news. Everything is on hold. So that's just the way that is, including, at the moment, the canal trip, which I have a feeling, because I can't get it booked in early, the next canal adventure may not happen this year. We may have to wait till next year. And I think that's very sad because I was hoping that would become an annual event. Now, it may happen, but I would like to have got that in the book at a reasonable price and possibly longer. This year was hoping for maybe 2 weeks, in actual fact, to really get a sense of adventure and make a sense of travel. But that's not going to happen. Some good news, though, something light and jolly and entertaining. I was sent a very lovely book from a publisher, and it's called Mad Jack. It is about Mad Jack Fuller, who many of you will probably know. He left a whole load of follies. He was a strange character, and this is newly published, and the author asked the publisher to send me a copy, which was very nice. It's written by Annette Lloyd Thomas, and it's Mad Jack, The Many Lives of John Fuller, the Squire of Brightlington. Now, as I have been round his follies, I've done podcasts of them in the past, but I did a little, well, it was a sort of demo for a television series that I put forward. It never came to anything, unfortunately, but I did make a video, and if you search online, if you put Richard Vobes Oddballs Eccentric, probably into YouTube or Vimeo, I forget which one it's on, you will see my little pilot, a much younger version of me on a unicycle going around looking at oddballs of history. And Jack Fuller was one of them. And you'll see that I go to the Sugarloaf there. Anyway, on the back of this, it just says, let me read this to you because it's quite lovely. It says, almost 200 years after his death, John Mad Jack Fuller is mostly remembered as a typical English eccentric, a wealthy Elizabethan century squire who built whimsical follies around his Sussex estate. Local legend has it that Mad Jack sits inside his mysterious pyramid tomb at a table with roast chicken and a bottle of port. Curious stories such as this overshadows Fuller's philanthropy even, that would be the word, and patronage of the arts and sciences, while his arrest in the House of Commons is better known than the details of his long political career. This book delves beneath the myths and the tall tales to examine more closely the life and times of a colourful and charismatic and often contradictory character, Mad Jack. And it's newly published, and it's I haven't yet had a chance to read it because I'm still reading other stuff, but it's got some beautiful illustrations in there, watercolour illustrations of some of his follies, and a map of where they all are. So I thought that was lovely. So I intend to read it, but I also intend to go around his follies at some point when we're allowed out, and maybe do a special feature on that and use some of the knowledge gleaned from the book. What I would like to be able to do, perhaps in future, is get more of these sort of books from publishers and then do a bit of a promotion, but see if I can get a discount so that people could buy the book at a £5 off or a £10 off or something like that, in exchange for my publicity, so that you guys get something out of it other than just me getting a free book, if you see what I mean. Anyway, that came out. Oh, I should tell you the publisher is... where is the publisher on there? That is a good question. It doesn't actually say. So how useful is that? It will say on the inside somewhere. It's illustrated. Hang on. It's always good to give the published by. I can't read this without. I can't. Produced by. No. I'll put it in the description. Probably the easiest. Otherwise, I'll be, farting about here. You don't want to see that, I can tell you. Comments on the videos. Funny, I've been watching a number of other YouTubers, and they've been looking at comments and thinking, why is it? Why is it that repeatedly some people who don't like what one does repeatedly go and visit the same person's channel? They obviously get upset and find it not to their taste, and yet they repeatedly go back to the same channels, and you think, well, YouTube's got so many things that you could be watching, the things that will cater for anything, including, kittens and bikers and all sorts of things. I don't need to give you a list because I'm sure you're intelligent enough to think, but some people seem to relish coming back to those sites that have their style and stance, and then just think, no, I don't like any of that. I want you to talk about something else. And I was just watching somebody else who was complaining exactly the same thing. Very odd. It does make you feel that actually what you probably want to do is not bother with the comments altogether. And I am debating whether that would be a good thing, just to take a few weeks off. Leave the comments so people can comment, but not myself, either not read them, and not let them worry me, or not respond, because it is quite a time-consuming thing. So I'm thinking about that. So if suddenly you don't see me, it's not that I don't care, it's just I'm having a bit of time out from all of that, because there's a lot of other things I'm trying to do. Yes, apologies that there's no special videos this week of how I edit my videos or filming stuff, which I was going to try and make more of. I'm hoping that I can do more of those, but they'll just come as and when. So the sort of top tips and editing tips and filming tips and things like that, I shall just add in. If you are one of those viewers who likes the Listen with Vobes channel, then just to let you know that from Monday, that will be the 22nd, because it's the 21st today, as I send this out. From Monday, we're doing a new book by Tickner Edwards called Neighbourhood. So we finished the last one, which was The Peep Show by Walter Wilkinson, and we're starting a new book, which is a live thing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you can catch up with it afterwards. It lasts for about 45 to 50 minutes, something like that. I read a book and often we'll look up stuff online and share things. We pause, so it's not just reading a book, it's a more interaction type of show, more interactive. And yeah, that's probably all I've got this week. So sorry, it's nothing terribly exciting. But I'm hoping that next week we get a little bit more nicer weather and I can get out and bring you at least some of the outdoor. And we're starting to get towards spring, so it's interesting to see the nature, particularly in the pathways of England, how things that are happening, how the leaves and the buds are opening and what wildflowers are coming up and all of that. So desperate to get out and bring some of that to you. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. And I will catch up with you soon. If you aren't following or subscribing, then then you'll get notified of everything. I think there's a bell thing that you do. And of course, you can become a patron and support what I do. And I'll try and bring you this eclectic mix of heritage, landscape and nature. Anyway, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.